Hello, scholars, and welcome to Math with Mr. Ray. So, um, tomorrow you have a quiz. And so we're just gonna like review a few things to help us get prepared. What I want you to do first, of course, is solve it on your own first to see what you get right. And I'm gonna give B points to students that like check off problems that they already got right, and then problems that they did, and you can just show their work. So 1 inch is about 2.5 centimeters. What is the closest approximation of how many centimeters is in a ruler? There are 10 inches in a ruler. Okay, so here's what we know. We know that we're dealing with rule inches, right? We're dealing with a ruler, and we're dealing with centimeters. Now, what do we know? We know that 1 inch is 2.5 centimeters. We're trying to figure out how many centimeters is in a ruler, right? Well, we also know that 12 inches is in one ruler. To get from 1 to 12, you multiply times 12. Thus, we could just multiply 2.5 times 12. Um, 12 is 2.5 groups of 12. So 2 groups of 12 is 12 times 2, and a half of 12 is 12 times 1/2. And that's 24, and that's 6. 24 plus 6 is 30. So roughly about 30 centimeters. And that's how I got my answer. I also know that um 1 inch equals 2.5 centimeters. And 12 inches is in a ruler. And you could just multiply both of those by 12 to get 30 centimeters. All right, go ahead and pause that. What did you learn? What did you miss? Don't forget to edit. What is 35% of 240? So I'm gonna do this mentally, but before I can do this mentally, I just want you to know that in order to find a percentage of a number, turn percentage in turn percentage into decimal or fraction and multiply by the total, which means 35% gets turned into 35 hundredths, which gets turned into 0.35 because the 5 ends in the 100ths place. And you multiply that by 240. Another thing I can do is I know that I can decompose 35 into 10% plus 10% plus 5%. And I know 10% of 240 is 24 plus another 24. And 5%, which is half of 10%, is 12. 24 plus 24 is 48. Plus 10 is 58. Plus 2 is 60. So let's see if I'm right. Calculator. 0.35 times 240. Oh, I did something wrong. Oh, I know what I did wrong. 10, 10, and 5, that's 25. So I can add another 10%. This is why you always check your work. So 24 plus 24 is 48. 48 plus 24 is 72. Plus 10 is 82. Plus 2 is 84. Oh, not 84%, but just 84. Okay? So we looked at it two ways. And this is exactly why you show your work multiple ways to double check your work. I want you to use one of these for this one and this one. Okay, so in 8 weeks, Eric spent 45 hours. So 8 weeks. Do you see how like I'm writing as I'm reading? 45 hours. Studying for his NJSLA test. At what rate in hours per week? Okay. Did Eric spend studying for the test? Show a work. So I'm comparing weeks to hours, and I always put the ratio I know. I know in 8 weeks he spent 45 hours, and I'm trying to figure out in 1 week. So I divide by 8 or multiply times 1/8. 45 divided by 8 is 45 over 8. And 45 divided by 8, 8 goes into 45 5 times at 40 and then 5. So your answer could be 5 and the remainder becomes numerator and the divisor becomes denominator. 5 and 5/8 hours. So how did I figure that out? Um, divided 45 hours by 8 weeks to get 5 and 5/8 hours per week. Double check that. 45 divided by 8. 8 goes into 40. 5 times, 5 remainder. Cool. All right. Go ahead and pause that. Let's go to the next one. Ashad is starting a math tutoring business. The table below shows the data of his earnings. Okay. So in 3 hours, he made $45. In 5 hours, he made $75. In 9 hours, we don't know. In X hours, we don't know. Whenever I look at this, I want to, if the unit rate is not given, I just find it. How do I do that? I find the unit rate by dividing the amount of hours by itself and the cost by the amount of hours. 3 divided by 3 equals 1. 45 divided by 3 equals 15. So I found the unit rate. So that unit rate tells me that Ashad makes $15 per hour. That is good help. And the reason why that understanding can help me is because to get from 5 to 75, I know I'm going to multiply by 15 because that's the unit rate. And to get from 75 to 5, I'm going to divide by 15. So if I know my X, I can just multiply my X by 15. And if I know my Y, I can just divide by 15. Do you see how the unit rate can really help you understand that? So it says, how much did Ashad make tutoring per hour? Ashad makes $15 per hour. Cool. Find the missing value for X. Well, I know that if I have Y, divide Y by 15. 15 goes into 16 one time. 15 goes into 15, that's 15. 1. 15 goes into 15 one time. So the value of X is 11 hours. Okay. Find the missing value for Y. If I have Y, just, oh, if I don't have Y, multiply X times Y. Well, 15. So 15 times 9, 45. Oh, Y is $135, which means that in 9 hours, he made $135. How many hours did a Shah tutor if he earned 330? So you could create a table. You know, it's hours and earnings. And put what you know, right? You know the unit rate and you know some other information from the table. You know that in 1 hour he earned $15 and he's going to 330. So you're figuring out like how many hours did he work for if he made $330? I want you to see if there's a multiplicative relationship between 15 and 30. Remember, if you don't know what to multiply, you can divide the larger number by the small number. I'll write that down. If you are unsure what to multiply, divide larger number by smaller number to find rate. So I want you to figure that out. So maybe you can divide this by this, and then you can use that rate to multiply that by. All right, let's look here. As I said before, if you have a table and it's not telling you like the unit rate or like for one, then you could figure that out, right? So you can just go ahead and divide that by itself, divide that by itself, and 4 divided by 4 is 1, which means for every 1p, you get 14 divided by 4. 4 goes into 14 3 times. 4 is 12 and 2. So that'd be 3 and 2/4, which could divide 2 by 2, which is 3 and 1/2. Okay. So using that information, you could solve. Otherwise, you can see, is there a multiplicative relationship between the numbers? For example, is there a multiplicative relationship between 14 and 56? So like 56 times, I'm sorry, 14 times 4, that's 6. Yeah. So to get from 14 to 56, you multiply times 4. So what are you going to have to multiply by 4 on the other side? Well, since we're dealing with 14, we have to deal with 4. So we have to multiply 4 times 4, and 4 times 4 is 16. So the missing value of P is 16. Okay. Now you go ahead and solve this one. Is there a multiplicative relationship between any of these numbers and 30? I see one for sure. All right. And what you do on one side, you can do on the other side. Now, let's get here. So, plot the given points on the coordinate grid and write the names. So as you know, it's X first and then Y. As you know, this is the X axis, then this is the Y axis. So when X is 2, you go to start at 0, go to 2. Y is 2, then you go up 2. And then you plot your point. So you know 2 to 2. When X is 2, go to 2. Y is 7, go up to 7 to 7. Then x is 7, go to 7, then go up 7, and then go to 7, go up 2. Huh, that created a shape. What shape did that create? And if you're really advanced, what would be the area of that shape? All right, so you go ahead and do this one. It's going to create a shape. I wonder what shape it's going to create. Remember, start at the origin. Go to your x. Then stop at your x, then go up to your y. Do it again. Start at origin, start at origin, start at origin. Okay? And here's some practice, right? So if you don't have, so here's some hints. Find unit rate. And find multiplicative relationship. All right, that's all for today. Go ahead and finish this up. This will be graded, right? I can already look here. See, look, to get from 2 to 6, it's times 3. So whatever I have here, just multiply times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 3 is 15. Done, right? I also know that to get from 2, oh, I can't really do that, can I? To get from 2 to, oh no, yeah. 2 to 4 is times 2. 6 times 2 is 12. Do you see how I was able to figure it out? All right. Good luck and have a good day.